budget financing. Off-budget financing. What happened is that CAG, Comptroller and Auditor General of India, he in 2000 financial year of 2017, he tabled his his study, his report in Parliament. Tabled his report in Parliament, saying that saying that the government is resorting to off-budget financing. Government is resorting to off-budget financing. So this is what he said in 2017, that government is resorting to off-budget financing. Off-budget financing kya hai? That would not be reflected in the budget. That is not reflected in the budget expenditure. That is not reflected in the budget expenditure. For example, government says that our expenditure is going to be 100 crores, and that 100 crore is entirely, we know that money, where the money is going to, I suppose, held to education and all these expenditures, whether it be a revenue expenditure, whether it be a capital expenditure, that is called a budget expenditure. But government does some extra expenditure, suppose 10 crore rupees. This extra expenditure is not part of this 100 crore. This is something extra, and it is an off budget expenditure. It is not reflected in the budget. So what CAG said, he said that in 2017 tabled a report in Parliament that the government is resorting to off budget financing. So off budget financing ki wajah se CAG created this issue in the Parliament, and there was a huge debate in the country that whether or not government should come up with a fiscal policy, a finance policy regarding this off budget financing. गवर्नमेंट जो है इस ऑफ बजट फाइनेंसिंग के लिए, जो कि गवर्नमेंट को कभी कभी करना पड़ता है, इसके लिए कितना करना चाहिए, कितना नहीं करना चाहिए, should we have a policy for that or not? And even there was another debate in the country that this off budget financing should be looked by an independent body, and they recommended the creation of fiscal council. They recommended the creation of fiscal council. तो उन्होंने कहा कि एक fiscal council हमें बनाना चाहिए. That will be another, say for example, statutory body independent enough to look at these off budget expenditures of the country, apart from looking at other deficits in the economy, like the fiscal deficit, how to have the targets of the fiscal deficit. वो सारा काम हमें एक इंडिपेंडेंट अथॉरिटी को देना चाहिए. दैट वुड बी योर फिस्कल काउंसिल. तो ये सारा, इसको हम कहते हैं ऑफ बजट फाइनेंसिंग एंड द नीड फॉर फिस्कल काउंसिल. ओके, प्लीज राइट डाउन few of the lines. CAG suggested that government should consider presenting a policy framework for off-budget financing. The framework should specify the rationale and objective of budget financing. Rationale and objective of off-budget financing. इस फ्रेमवर्क में आपको क्लियर कट बताना है कि किस रैशनल के हिसाब से हम ये फाइनेंसिंग करेंगे, इसका ऑब्जेक्टिव क्या होगा, एंड क्वांटम ऑफ बजट फाइनेंसिंग. क्वांटम कितना आपको करना है, क्वांटम ऑफ बजट फाइनेंसिंग, सिर्फ क्वांटम नहीं, एंड द सोर्सेज ऑफ फंड, पैसा कहां से आएगा, सोर्सेज ऑफ फंड एटसेट्रा. दिस इज व्हाट हैज बीन सजेस्टेड बाय CAG. ठीक है ना, ये CAG की सजेशन है. तो CAG हैज सेड दैट वी शुड हैव अ full-fledged policy framework for off-budget financing, जिसमें हमें ऑब्जेक्टिव बताना चाहिए, रैशनल बताना चाहिए ऑफ बजट फाइनेंसिंग. Along with that, we should have the quantum, kitna aapko karna hai, and the sources of fund. Okay, they also said that we should have a fiscal council. Next point, in order to ensure that government follows best fiscal practices, there is a need to set up an independent and statutory watchdog to oversee the state of public finances based on its assessments. Based on its assessments. This is not the first time anyone has recommended to have a fiscal council. IMF ने बहुत पहले ही ये recommendation की थी. IMF working paper in 2019 showed that the presence of an independent fiscal council tends to boost accuracy of fiscal projections. Accuracy of fiscal projections and helps countries conform to fiscal rules. So that was a recommendation by IMF in 2019 that we should have an independent fiscal council. It will boost the accuracy of fiscal projections. जो भी हमारे projections होंगे fiscal deficit के, जो भी हमारा debt का projection होगा, public debt का 60% and all those things, इन projections को best accurate तरीके से fiscal council ही बता सकता है, and it will help countries conform to the fiscal rules. जो भी rules है आपकी country में FRBM के तहत, वो आपको उसकी conformity अगर देखनी है, that will be best done by fiscal council. So that was IMF, but it's not IMF only who has said it. India में भी एक दो committees आई है जिन्होंने fiscal council को create करने की बात की है. First is the NK Singh committee जिन्होंने FRBM की recommendation भी दी थी. So it is NK Singh committee in 2017 suggested the creation of an independent fiscal council. The creation of an independent fiscal council that would provide forecasts, that would provide forecasts and advise the government on whether conditions exist for deviation from the mandated fiscal rules. So NK Singh committee comes in 2017, suggests the creation of an independent fiscal council. It will provide forecasts. क्या होने वाला इकोनॉमी में, कितना expenditure and all the revenue and all those things. Advise the government on whether conditions exist for deviation. That means whether or not you can use an escape clause or not. What are the conditions in the economy? All that we have already covered in FRBM. तो FRBM एक्ट में जो रिकमेंडेशन आई थी एनके सिंह की एक और रिकमेंडेशन थी कि फिस्कल काउंसिल बनाया जाए जो आपको कंडीशन बताएगा whether or not you should go for a deviation of 0.5% from the fiscal targets, fiscal rules. पर इंडिया ने गवर्नमेंट ने बाकी की रिकमेंडेशन कंसिडर कर ली, पर फिस्कल काउंसिल वाली रिकमेंडेशन कंसिडर नहीं की, because it will take the power from the government and give it to an independent authority. That's what the government does not want. Not only NK Singh committee, there is another committee in 2018. It is DK Srivastava committee on fiscal statistics. In 2018. It was established by NSC, National Statistical Commission. It also suggested the establishment of Fiscal Council. Fiscal Council की establishment का इसने भी कहा है, establishment of Fiscal Council that could coordinate with all levels of the government to provide harmonized fiscal statistics across government levels. Okay. तो जितना भी आपको डेटा चाहिए, स्टैटिस्टिक्स चाहिए, DK Srivastava committee said that you should have an fiscal council, and that is who would coordinate between central and the state and the local level इन सारी गवर्नमेंट्स के जो भी फिस्कल रूल्स है उसको हार्मनी में गवर्नमेंट तक कैसे पहुंचाना है एंड व्हाट अबाउट द फिस्कल स्टैटिस्टिक्स दैट मींस the data from the states and the data from the center, all that should be coordinated and created by the fiscal council. So these were some recommendations of the committees regarding the creation of a fiscal council, which has not yet been created, but it will be created some time in the future. जैसे ही maybe COVID से हम बाहर आएंगे and things start being balanced out, maybe there will be a creation of fiscal council as soon as possible. Okay, is it clear? Off budget financing and fiscal council समझ आया? Okay.